Hello, everyone. This is Joe Pusateri, and I am living the sober life. Today, I want to do two things. The first thing that I want to do is I want to share with you the importance of efforts like this. I started doing these sober life videos and the sober life YouTube channel, Facebook page several weeks ago, just because number one, it sounded like a good idea, it felt like a good idea, and it was a lot of fun. And the deep purpose of why I'm doing these things was not readily apparent. I mean, I just thought, well, sobriety is a good thing. People, need to know what recovery is, and there's not a whole lot of content out there that I seem to come across about recovery. So I felt like there was space in the internet for something like this. There was definitely room for it. And the more time that goes on, the more that I hone in on a purpose and a driving vision for this. And here it is. People who are trying to stay sober or people who are trying to get sober deserve good quality recovery. And what I mean by that is a full, vibrant life with good support, with life giving principles, with a spiritual journey and connection, no matter what form that takes. People deserve that, and it's hard enough to get into stay sober. That I think that we need all the help and support that we can get, and good recovery provides that. And I have been so lucky as to experience what good recovery is, and so this is an opportunity to give back so much that's been given to me by amplifying and multiplying some of the wisdom that I've come across by others, some of the experience that I've had that has taught me, and sharing some of the celebrations and joys that have come by way of sobriety and recovery. So that's why we do what we do. If that's something that means something to you or to someone that you love, and you like what we're doing, or even if you don't like what we're doing, let us know that. Also, if you want to support the channel, we don't need your money. We do this for free. It's no big deal. There are no costs. We just record videos and post them, and it's free. So that's great. But you can support by liking the video, commenting on the video, sharing the video, and subscribing to the YouTube channel. All right, that's the first thing I want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about is step 9. Now, step 9, probably along with step 4, is among the most dreaded of the 12 steps. So, step 9 is that we made amends to such people wherever possible. What people? Well, in the 8th step, we identify those whom we have harmed, because the 8th step is made a list of all those we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. So we are willing to make amends, and then in step 9, we actually go out and we make amends. And people are understandably apprehensive about that. But I got good news for you. It ain't that bad. It's not that scary. It's nothing to be scared of. I think the reason people are afraid is because it's unknown. We're not a people as alcoholics who are used to going out and repairing the damage that we have created. And so it's something that's unfamiliar to us, and anything that's unfamiliar can be frightening. Number two, we look at that 9th step from the very beginning. So when we haven't even worked step 1, we're looking at 9. Then we haven't even worked step 2, and we're looking at 9. We're barely through our step 4 and 5, and we're looking at 9. And we get to 6 and 7, and we're looking at 9. We know it's coming. And the thing is, it's placed where it is for a reason. You're not ready to do a 9th step before you get to the 9th step. If you have not worked your inventory, you're not ready to do a 9th step. So don't worry about it. What you need to know is by the time you get there, it's going to look a whole lot different than it does now. I've heard a lot of people share their experience that they were actually excited to go and make their amends because they had done all of the preparatory spiritual work to get there. And they no longer believed that they were monsters or bad people who needed to get good and grovel at other people's feet in order to make things right, but rather they were sick people who were on the road to getting well, and that this is just a part of that process. of getting well. So it's not something that you really have much reason to be afraid. It's going to be okay. So I don't want to spend too much time on step 9 here because I want to keep these videos brief. So I'll just say a few things. Number one, making amends is not saying that you're sorry. We have said that we are sorry way too many times in our life, and we're right. We have been sorry. We've been sorry in both meanings of that word. Like we've been pathetic, and we've also been genuinely remorseful for the things that we have done. Sorry doesn't add up to anything, particularly when we have said that we are sorry ad infinitum. Making amends is making things right. So, what I do when I go and I make amends, I tell people, listen, I was wrong. Not I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was wrong when I did X, Y, and Z. And I did those things when I was in the midst of active alcoholism or addiction, if that's the case. Of course, I've also had to make amends for things in sobriety, so I don't say that part. But I'm an alcoholic. I'm an addict. I've done things that are unacceptable. I was wrong in this situation and in this situation, and because of that, I'm afraid that I harmed you, and I want to make those things right. What can I do to make those things right? I ask them to tell me, and then I ask them, is there anything that I'm forgetting or leaving out? And then I stop talking and I listen, and that's very important. My experience, I'm not going to speak for everybody, my experience is that 9 times out of 10, people are very reasonable, people are very gracious, people are very forgiving, way more forgiving than I've been towards people in the past. And a lot of times people will say, wow, I really appreciate that. And if you just keep doing what you're doing, or yes, you do owe me that money. Don't worry, I'm not looking for interest. If you could just pay that back as soon as you can, or whatever you can afford over the course of 6 months or a year. I mean, people are usually very, very reasonable. Occasionally, there's somebody who's just not impressed, and there's somebody they've just been wounded and they've just been hurt, and they're not really pleased to be having this conversation with me. And in those instances, number one, they're few and far between. Those instances, I just listen respectfully, and if it's something that I can do, I do it. If it's something that I can't do or I'm not sure that I can do, I take it to my sponsor. And if they're not willing to give me anything to do to make things right, if they just want to keep the relationship severed, then I respect that and I walk away. It's unfortunate, but those things happen. Fortunately, that's not very often, at least not in my case. And I've heard enough other people talk that it's not too common that you have people who are not forgiving. So that's the first thing. It's not saying you're sorry, it's making amends. The second thing I want to talk about is sponsorship, sponsorship, sponsorship. This is a step where perhaps a sponsor is the most important person, the most important element in the equation here. Because if it were up to me, I would make all of my amends the wrong way. I would want to belabor the past with people who deserve to have me out of their lives and need me to move on with my life. And I would not give other people who are in my life the time and dignity that they deserve. So having a sponsor guide me and say, okay, this is the way we're gonna do these amends. This is the way we're gonna do these amends. These people I want you to be in person. These people I just want you to write a letter. These people I want you to be very specific and name everything that you've ever done. These people deserve to not have you interrupt their lives, so you just be as general as possible. You tell them that they don't need to reply if they don't want to, so you can stop disrupting their lives, that kind of stuff. And if it wasn't for a sponsor, I probably would have created a lot more heartache for myself and for others through the 9-step process. The last thing I want to say about the 9th step, and then we'll stop this video, is that this is where the promises start to happen. So if you've been to a 12-step meeting and you've heard something read called the promises, it says if we are painstaking about this phase in our process, we'll be amazed before we're halfway through. And then there's a number of things that will happen where we suddenly realize that God is doing for us that which we could not do for ourselves, that fear of people and economic insecurity has left us, all these amazing promises. This is where that stuff starts coming true. It's when we're out making amends to people in the world. And our job in making amends is just keeping our side of the street clean. It's not an opportunity for us to point out where other people were wrong, even if other people are very wrong, even if we have a riff and it's 90% their fault. I'm here to talk about my 10%, and that's it. I'm here to own up to my part. If they want to own up to theirs, they're welcome to. If not, that is totally their right, and it is none of my business. And the point of all of this is to restore relationships to the best of our ability, and oftentimes to begin new relationships or new levels of relationships we didn't think were possible. All right, ninth step. It's good stuff. It's not as scary as you think. It's not saying you're sorry. It's making things right, and it's when promises come true. All right. Hope that was meaningful to you. If so, let us know. If not, let us know. Any comments are welcome. Hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. God bless. Sorry doesn't add up to anything, particularly when we have said that we are sorry ad infinitum, 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 infinitum.